After almost 2 years on the bench, the GOAT of Counter-Strike Global Offensive has returned on BC... Who? BC.Game? My name is Bill Burlington. I love talking about Counter-Strike, and if you do too, please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting down below. I am close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and that's something only 9% of people who start a YouTube channel actually achieve, so it will be very cool if you guys help me and get to that special number. Or feel free to join the Burlington's Big Shot Discord server, where we watch Counter-Strike, play Counter-Strike, and talk Counter-Strike all the time. S1mple joining BC.Game was a big surprise for many, including myself and the members of the Burlington's Big Shot Discord server. Joining a team that was at the time 83rd in the VRS rankings, far outside of Tier 2 invites, let alone Tier 1 invites. Something the 3-time best player of the year has never experienced. But you know me, I think S1mple still got it. I think he can become a top 20 player in the world next year. Not this year, definitely not, because there are rumors that BC.Game are reportedly looking to buy a Tier 1 core so that they get invites to Tier 2 and Tier 1 tournaments. In this video, we're gonna look at who the teams are S1mple can possibly join by BC.Game just simply buying their core. And I believe that the CS GOAT has a say in who to get and what he wants in a team. Let's look at S1mple's wish list that he's gonna ask Daddy BC.Game to buy so they can finally play Tier 1 and Tier 2 tournaments. To speculate what S1mple's wishlist could look like, we have to look at language barriers, players S1mple likes to play with, players that are on a high enough caliber to play with S1mple, an org that actually wants to sell their roster or is open to selling it, and a roster they can actually afford. Because yes, BC.Game might have a little bit of money. For the people who don't know, BC.Game is an online betting casino crypto coin thing or something with over 9 million users and partnerships with Leicester City and they got a lot of money. They are an organization based in Belize, probably because they can legally run online casino. Another reason why I believe that BC.Game is serious about funding this project with S1mple and buying such an expensive roster is because they have recently launched their crypto coin in the form of BC token, and for that they probably want to, make a splash, get some promotion, get some eyeballs on them. And I think a big roster move, can drag the esports audience this way, which is a great audience for online betting. The question is not how much can BC.Game afford, the question is how much are they willing to pay for a team on S1mple's wish list. Number 1, Tai Lu. No. Number 1, Gamer Legion. A team that's been on the come up for so long now, with a very promising IGL in the form of ZTR, a great talent in the form of PR, and then also a reliable and strong piece in the form of Res, who I expected to be playing so much better in the Gamer Legion, now that he's not chained down by NIP anymore. I think it's gonna be like this. I think Res is gonna be great in Gamer Legion this year. I think he's actually everybody's gonna be like, oh, I don't rate their AWP or Cursey at all. I expect him to be gone after the Budapest Major, if not even be cut before the Budapest Major. So S1mple could be a great addition to this core. But the magic of Gamer Legion is not the 5 players in the seats, it's the person who assembled these pieces and created a great lineup. There are rumors that he might leave to big organizations like G2, who I'm sure looked at the prospect of signing Ash. But they were quickly silenced when Gamer Legion announced that they extended Ash's contract for another few years. So if you want a roster, you have to get Ash, but Ash doesn't wanna leave, sadly. And even if BC.Game came a knocking, this roster would be worth millions because they have Tier 1 invites and chance to get to the major quite easily and a lot of potential. And because S1mple doesn't really have players in that roster he wants to play with necessarily, and because of the language barrier, because S1mple rather would speak, Russian, Ukrainian, whatever, I don't see it happen. The second team on S1mple's wish list, Virtus Pro. A Tier 1 team that is Russian speaking, has players on the level of S1mple, and has players that, S1mple has previously played with and wants to play with in the form of Electronic and Perfecto, who he won the PGL Stockholm Major with, which he said was the best roster he ever played in. Replacing IC with S1mple is not a bad idea, in my opinion. And what I think is not a bad idea at all is just selling this roster. Because this roster, under the helm of Electronic, has been diabolical. They can't win anything. They just spent millions on this roster and just barely can crack playoffs here and there. The energy, the vibes, however you want to say it, seems horrendous with Electronic screaming at people in officials. And if that's happening on camera, what's happening behind the scenes? What is being said or done? It seems to be a miserable experience playing on Virtus Pro. And I think just sell it. But because Virtus Pro likes being in Counter-Strike, which I respect, they probably want to keep the pieces and they don't really are interested in selling, so they can just ask for the highest price imaginable. So as happy as it would make S1mple to play with the Virtus Pro core or buy it, I don't see it happen because Virtus Pro will ask for like $5 to $10 million, if not more, because they don't really want to sell. They are okay with this lineup for some reason. Bad luck for S1mple. Daddy BC.Game doesn't have that money, sadly. The third team on S1mple's wish list, Heroic. I know, Heroic is not a Russian-speaking lineup, but if there's one thing we know about Heroic, it's that they love selling players and cores. And that's what we're looking for. Like, it's crazy. Heroic has sold Nerds for like $1 million. They have sold Tier-1 recently to Team Spirit. And they have sold a core to Falcons. With all those transfers easily making $10 million in transfers alone. If BC.Game buys the Heroic core, it will grant them Tier 1 and Tier 2 invites and a promising IGL in the form of LNZ and stable riflers in the form of Youngster, Nilo and X-Flout or whoever you want to keep. And there's even a spot open because they recently benched Grix and only got a player from Team Spirit Academy in the form of Alcaran on loan. So there's a nice little spot for S1mple to slot right in. And another reason for Heroic to sell this core right now is because they recently lost Tier-1 to Team Spirit. And he will leave after the Esports World Cup. And I fear that after that, Heroic will go down in the rankings. And I think sell high. Which Heroic have been doing these last few years. And I think the price won't be that crazy. And I think a price that BC.Game can afford. Question is, will they? If this happens, will Heroic come back again and build up a new Tier 1, Tier 2 roster that they can sell again? But what we can say is that this strategy of just selling your players and cores is making a heck of a lot of money and being the most profitable esports organization, you know, quite possibly in the world. So do you want to change a winning business strategy? The fourth team S1mple has on his wish list is Bait, a Ukrainian organization that is on the precipice of Tier 1 invites. They speak the language, country pride of playing for a Ukrainian team, players that are on a high enough caliber, and Tier 1 invites. This seems like a slam dunk. Bait is founded by ex-pro Dota 2 player in the form of Dandy, who has also played for analysed like S1mple and is also Ukrainian. And the reason why I think BC.Game is interested is because it's a smaller organization where they don't really have that much money, so a big payout for like $3 million or $3.5 million to buy this roster could go quite far for an organization this size. An example why I think why Bait doesn't have that much money is because the biggest signing they made was S1mple from analysed, who was on loan for 2 years from the Ukrainian organization to the Ukrainian organization, because I think they weren't able to afford his buyout and just paid its way towards him finishing his stint at analysed and have now officially signed him. Speaking of S1mple's, the question is, does S1mple want to play with S1mple? For the two have already played in analysed before, which wasn't going great for S1mple with some bad showings here and there. And it was also very well known that the team didn't really gel with S1mple that much at the time, where he would oftentimes be sitting alone and eating by himself. And considering S1mple is the IGL of B8, it's not really a piece you can miss when you buy a core. And then there's their next best player in the form of Hattrick, who is their ARPer. which is the position s1mple will of course be taking. And I believe s1mple could be better than Hattrick, and Hattrick was originally a rifler before he was getting forced into the AWP role because NIP wanted a monacy for themselves back in the monacy craze days. So he still has like rifler blood, let's just say. So in that regard it could work, but it's not perfect. So on the surface it seems ideal with like, you know, Ukrainian organization, language, player caliber, price most likely being affordable for BC.Game to afford. When you take a closer look, it doesn't seem that perfect because of role clashes and because of personal clashes, possibly. So I don't see this happen per se. And then the 5th team, placing 30th in the VRS rankings, a Ukrainian organization in the form of TNL. Only recently created, TNL has been impressing a lot of people with rather, or just let's just blatantly say it, very unknown Ukrainian talents. And led by their coach JR, let's go Sharks! They've been winning small online tournaments in the form of The Proving Ground Season 1 with Fnatic, NIP, Big and BC.Game attending. A small Swedish LAN in the form of Level Up Lund, again with NIP in attendance. And have qualified for ASL Pro League Season 22 as their biggest result yet, all in a span of 7 months. And their CEO, Kane, has played with s1mple as his coach and has won IEM Cologne 2018 and has attended multiple major playoffs with him. So there might be a possible relationship there. The team is Ukrainian, has promising players, has invites and plays in tournaments, speaks the language, has familiar faces in the form of Kane, and most importantly, is affordable. In my opinion, of all these teams that were on s1mple's wish list, I believe TNL to be the biggest chance of BC.Game actually getting to help s1mple along. But does s1mple want to play with these no-namers? Well, I guess he has to because they're ranked above him. Big plot twist. There are rumors going around that s1mple's contract is only 2 to 3 months, as reported by Foreign, with him saying this. It might only be like a 2-3 month deal. Based on what I've heard, he might only be doing the equivalent of previous stand-in stints. It sounds to me that they just bought the end of the contract, or maybe even bought himself out for the end of the contract, and they pay him some fuck ton of money to promote the casino. If s1mple's contract is only 3 months, which I do believe is true, this can only go 2 ways. The first possibility. s1mple signed a very short-term deal because he wanted to see if BC.Game was serious about getting a promising team around s1mple, and if they don't, s1mple is just gonna get the hell out of there. Or the second option, s1mple just wanted to be back in the shop window where when the Budapest major finishes and the teams that, you know, have been not getting the results they wanted, teams like Team Liquid, Virtus Pro, Heroic, FaZe Clan can see, oh, s1mple's right there, he's been playing for 3 months and he's been showing some real promise once again. And then an organization can pick up s1mple for free because the contract has already run out with BC.Game. All while BC.Game got to announce BC.Game s1mple and promote their new crypto coin. And if I have to guess which one, I guess the latter. I would personally love to see s1mple back in a Tier 1 team after the Budapest major and see what he can get done in 2026. What do you think? Will BC.Game pick up a Tier 1, Tier 2 roster, or will s1mple indeed leave and hoping he will get to a better team? Or do you believe s1mple is out of it and he's gone and we're not going to see much of him after this stint because he's going to be washed? He had some big stinkers already, but it's online, you know, and it's only early days. But what do you think? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below what you think. And also, don't forget to join the Burlington's Big Show Discord server where we do fantasy leagues and, you know, we do season, we do giveaways and prizes you can win. So don't forget to join those. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Bert Burlington. I love talking about Counter-Strike, and if you do too, please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting down below, you know. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.